What's going on, guys? Shane here with another Fight Tips Quick Tip. So I know you couldn't help but notice the awesome cheeseburger rash guard brought to you by MMA Warehouse's Hypnotic line. Links in the description below if you want to get one for yourself. So there's a video going around of an Uber driver being attacked from a passenger in behind. We're going to look at some defenses to this so that you can stay safe if you're a driver yourself. And if you have friends that drive a taxi, Lyft, or Uber, make sure you share it with them. Let's take a look at that video. What's going on, guys? Shane here. I'm here with my friend Khan, who's an experienced Lyft driver, and today we're going to talk about defense to an attack in a car. Because if you're an Uber driver, Lyft driver, taxi driver, or even a police officer, here are some defenses. We're going to talk about prevention, we're going to talk about defense to strikes, and then defense to chokes. Okay, so the first thing is prevention. When someone gets in the car, the first thing that you want to do before they even get in the car is look at their rating, right? So if someone has a crappy rating, then you know they probably tend to start trouble. So that's your first sign. Second is when someone gets in the car, you want to tell them to put their seatbelt on, and be friendly when you say it too. Sir, I'm going to need you to put your seatbelt on so that if we have an accident, you're safe, there's no injuries. Now the reason why we're doing this is because if we're driving down the freeway and he starts some trouble and takes his seatbelt off, then that's a sign that he's probably up to something. He's going to reach for a weapon, or he's going to try to strike me or choke me out. All right, so that's your first sign. If you want to kick someone out, make sure you're trying to de-escalate the situation. You could even call the cops if you feel like a fight is about to happen before anything does, right? And then the cops can come and they can take care of it. But if you are about to kick someone out, then make sure you pull into a public area, where there's people around. So if a fight happens, you roll the window down, they hear it, and they'll come over and stop it. If you're kicking someone out, turn and look at them. All right, you want to see the strikes coming. You want to see if they're reaching for a gun or a knife or something like that, or a choke. So if someone's striking you, the best way to defend against it is the helmet guard. You're going to bring your thumb to your shoulder, your hand nice and tight here. So if Khan here is starting to throw punches, I'm blocking the side of my head. My chin is tucked. He can hit me in the top of the head, but most of the shots are going to be blocked. From here, if he gets frustrated and wants to continue hitting me, just like the passenger did in that video, he may grab me by my hair and try to push my head into the steering wheel. Now, the easiest way to relieve pressure from this and stop this from happening, think of it like a Chinese finger trap. Bring it nice and close to you so he doesn't have as much leverage, he can't pull you and control you. And then just use small joint manipulation. Grab one or two fingers and just bend them back, aiming to break them. You're trying to break their fingers, right? That's how you're gonna relieve pressure. Now the other thing that sort of got in the way of the driver in the video was his seatbelt. If you have your seatbelt on, you need to block, and then you need to take your other hand and undo the seatbelt. If you can turn and get out of the car, do that, right? Turn the car off real quick, get out, and run into a store. Keep your chin tucked. If you see him reaching across with his hand to grab the seatbelt, or even just to get a rear naked choke, I want you to do that, Con. Try to just reach across and get a rear naked choke. If I see that coming, tuck your chin. Okay, that's your first line of defense. And then you got to work to try to relieve some pressure. From here, it's all about just relieving pressure. And again, another thing that you can do is reach down using one hand to stop the choke and the other hand to shoot back. And he doesn't really have the choke anymore. From here, I can turn and try to strike and try to break the grip. He uses the seatbelt to choke me with it, right? He comes across, your first reaction is probably going to try to be relieve the pressure, and that's great. I want you to do that. If you can't though, if you can't relieve pressure because it's too tight, you're going to use one hand to try to reach, and the other hand is going to reach down and pull the seat back. So at that point that you shoot back real quick, it's going to relieve pressure for a quick second. That's when you reach in, try to get all four fingers in underneath the seatbelt, and then relieve pressure. Talking real quick about mace, pepper spray, and a knife. If you're thinking about investing in mace, make sure you buy two of them. The reason being is because I want you to practice with one. You want to know where the opening comes out. You want to know how far it sprays. You want to know how to handle it because it's a weapon. And the other thing is when you buy these, make sure you're getting a military or law enforcement brand. You don't want the ones that are disguised as lipstick or as a pen because they're actually not powerful enough. It's going to aggravate him more than anything, but he's going to continue to fight through that. So make sure you get a good brand. And if you have a knife as well, make sure you know how to use it. What's great about that is I could grab my knife, which needs to be close by, and I can stab him in the hands, or I could try to cut the seatbelt. But it's a weapon, it could be used against you if they grab a hold of it, so know how to use it. Most important thing is prevention. That's what we talked about in the beginning, because that is the best bet. All right, now we're gonna talk about if the passenger is next to you on the side. Hey, how you doing, man?
Hey, good.
Welcome to my car. We're gonna go for a little ride. Could I have you put your seatbelt on, please? Safety first.
Of course.
Seatbelt's put on first. Like I said, if he takes his seatbelt off, that's a sign something's about to go down. Defending against strikes, again, is the same thing. You wanna go with the helmet guard. So if he takes his seatbelt off and he starts throwing punches, or he starts throwing punches from wherever, right? The first thing that I want you to do is bring your elbow up and bring your hand to your shoulder. That's how you're gonna defend against these punches. With your free hand, you can undo your seatbelt, and if you can turn and get out of the car and grab your keys, that's great, do that. Or if you wanna turn and fight back, this is a much better position to be in as opposed to if they're behind you. Most people will be in the back seat, right? I mean, don't most people get in the back?
majority of the time they're in the back.
Okay, so I mean, that's the one that you need to be most cautious about. Again, if you have the pepper spray, if you have the knife, make sure that they don't get to that first. Make sure it's close and nearby, but not in open sight. All right, guys, so again, prevention is key. Stay safe, and don't be afraid to judge a book by its cover. You're not harming anybody. You're keeping yourself safe. Great, thanks for watching, guys. So again, if you have any friends or family that drive a taxi, an Uber, or a Lyft, be sure to share it with them so that they stay safe. Until next time, I'm Shane with Fight Tips. Self-defense for the underdogs.